Hey, SSIC, welcome to another edition of the REI RockStar podcast. I'm your host, Nick. I got my friend Paul Smith on the line. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing great.
Any relation to the famous Craig Smith?
Well, at some point, all Smiths are related, but no, I am no relation to Craig Smith.
Are all Smiths really related? I don't think so.
I have no idea, but that's just something I've always told people.
That's funny. REI RockStar podcast, where we talk about all things real estate and real estate investing. We talk to industry leaders here in town. We talk to people like Paul that are doing some pretty good business. We talk to anyone that's doing good business or works with people that do good business in real estate. So I'm your host, Nick Bauer, your real estate investing coach. Today's program is powered by the Southside Investment Club, where we also talk about all things real estate and real estate investing. Been going on for 12 years now with monthly meetings every second Thursday of the month. We run bus tours. We run 3-day events, educational events throughout the year. We have a high-level mastery class called the Inner Circle, where we work with some of our members exclusively one-on-one. And it's also brought to you in part by Graphic Connections. The folks at Direct Mail, they make direct mail easy for us. Michael Sewell at the Sewell Law Firm for all your real estate transactions and disputes and business creation formation needs. Direct lending with Longhorn Financial. Lawrence and Hopkins does a great job with a lot of our members. And also Rebecca Meyer, the one, the only Rebecca Meyer with Insight Title. She does a great job with helping our deals get closed up. They are investor-friendly title company. So I got Paul on the line here today, and we only have a few minutes here, but I wanted to, you're one of our newer members here, been around for maybe 6 months or so-ish.
6, 7 months. I believe it was a November start,
Yeah.
November 18 when I fully signed in with Inner Circle.
Yeah, and you had you had a lot of real estate experience, which we'll talk about, and you've had some investor experience as well with good success, and you linked arms with us because you wanted to take it further. But let's talk about what you do, like what's your main gig, like your main hustle? What do you do for a living?
Well, this real estate's a second career for me, which is not uncommon. I have been investing in rental properties since 2009. We started then with a 4-family apartment in Hazelwood, and we kind of grew that. Another one came up for sale. We added that, and we do the management, maintenance. It's all done by me on our apartments. And then also the other piece of my income is home inspections. I am a ASHI certified home inspector. It's the American Society of Home Inspectors. That pays the bills day to day. The rental portfolio is more of a long-term play, although it does flow some cash for us, which is nice. And it was around a year and a half, 2 years ago that I kind of looked at what we had going on, and I realized that with my business background that I really had not been treating this business properly. I was treating it more like a hobby, and by then I had added our third building, so we were up to 12 apartments. Had a couple of them go vacant, started watching the cash drain out of my checkbook, and I said, well, guys, yeah, I'll tell you, nothing puts fear into you like watching cash go out the door. But I kind of reached a point where I said that, I need to really treat this like a business. I need to learn how to really make this operate and function as a business would do and stop treating it as a hobby. And so I started searching around for experts in the field, mentors, people who could give me direction. Went through 3 or 4 different people, and then happened upon the Southside group and started making connections there and just started talking to people. And that's kind of where it's come to.
And so with your main hustle being the home inspector, you kind of have a leg up on people that maybe want to start investing or scale up their investing business because you're in a ton of homes every year and you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know what buyers are looking for. You're a lot more in tune with the codes, or we would hope to think that you're a lot more in tune with codes. Um, and you can see what needs to be fixed to get it up to a standard of what a today's buyer is going to want.
Yeah, so there's a good synergy here with my
Hmm.
experience with the buy and hold properties, with my home inspection business, and now as I'm branching into buying distressed properties and doing the rehabs and putting those back on the market in a usable fashion. But it gives me a good foundation that I've had that experience and that training, but I would not say that that's necessary. What I do can be learned. And the other thing is that there are home inspectors out there who can help you with this kind of thing. It's pretty easy to find a home inspector if you're looking at a property that you think is a good fit for your portfolio and you just need an expert. Make friends with a home inspector because they'll be happy to help you out with it for fairly reasonable fees. A lot of them work on a kind of a tiered system. They'll have the one price for a retail buyer who really doesn't understand a home and they need a very detailed full inspection. And then there's kind of another layer that home inspectors will do where they're happy to come in and walk through the home and just talk about the major systems and talk to a level that a rehabber or investor can understand. It's really two different audiences, and most home inspectors are great with that.
Well, yeah, and maybe that's called like a walk and talk is kind of what you might be
Yes,
looking for at that. So yeah, if you
right.
buy your first couple buildings, absolutely have a home inspector come on out, someone
Oh,
who is
absolutely.
actually certified, who
Mhm.
can walk you through. Maybe you don't have to do a full blown report, so it doesn't cost you a lot of money. But if you bring a notebook and they just tell you what you need to do,
Yep.
because at the end of the day, if you're buying a house that needs a ton of work, you don't need to go around and check all the outlets. You know that's
Right.
probably going to have to be done, right?
You know that you're going to need some basic electrical work. You know it's going to need paint. You're going to have to do some carpet in a few rooms. Um, those types of things just aren't as important to an investor. What they want to know is what's the age of my furnace and my water heater? Is my foundation sound? What's the age of the roof?
Absolutely. Yep.
It's more about the major systems.
Exactly, because you don't need to look at the stove. You're probably replacing the
Right.
stove, right? You don't
Yep.
need to look at the microwave. That's probably gone. You don't probably need to even test the kitchen if it even has hot water because you're probably replacing the
Right.
kitchen.
Yep.
So, but looking at that
That's it.
major stuff really does help out, and we do recommend that for people. So yeah, that is good. But the nice thing about what you have is you're in a ton of homes. You get to see it. You don't need that. I think that is a big leg up. I think realtors have a big leg up when they want to start doing it because they're in tune with the market, right? Lenders have a leg up. If you're already kind of in this business, you kind of have a leg up going into it. And your leg up is that you're a home inspector. And
Right.
it's
I
funny. I'd like to see one of your rehabs if a buyer walks through. I'd like to see what that building inspection looks like to see
uh,
if you pass the building inspection or not. Sorry, my phone's
you
going
know,
nuts.
I belong to the home inspectors group, and we're each other's worst critics. So it's a lot of fun when home inspectors get together and start comparing notes. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting when I get that first report and start saying, "Who's this inspector?" and
Yeah,
what's
it'll
he
be fun.
talking about?
Yeah, I just replaced the panel. What are you saying that I need to
What,
replace it?
what are you talking
So
about? That stack is just fine.
actually, one of our other home inspectors, who's a fellow Inner Circle member, Wes Vilhard,
Yep.
he um, he bought a house from me actually last year and renovated it and made a crap ton of money off it. Did a really good job with it. Sold it for way more than what we thought it would sell for, but he did a really good job on it. And um, he got his home inspector, like the buyer had a home inspector, and they went through and dinged him for two things that he was able to fix for like less than $10. And
That's a good day.
so, yeah, that's a good day, absolutely. But he knew, like, hey, a buyer's going to walk through this, so I might as well get all the issues done that need to be done. And so I would imagine that yours is probably going to be close to that uh,
Um,
when you do yours. So, but
That's that's what we aim for.
So okay, so you're new to the club and you're new to Inner Circle. You're not necessarily new to real estate, but you joined up with us because you wanted to scale up. And in the short time that you have, you've done some pretty cool stuff. And I kind of wanted to bring that out here real quick and brag about you for a little bit, but also just kind of walk through the couple deals that you've done and what that really looks like to your bottom line.
Sure. We could talk about, well, let's say just go chronological order. If I started in October, it began with the bus tour and looked at some properties. I was looking for something to do a rehab on. And so I'd been through several properties, didn't hit anything quite right. And then I found the house in Webster Groves. I think you actually brought that to me, which was kind of a mess. But when you go in, you have to you have to look past the mess and see what's underneath, and is there something there where we can add some value and put this building back to a good use, bring in a good family, and let them have a good life with it. So we found the Webster house, and we got started with that. And we're still in progress. It's been a learning curve for me because as treating this as a business, I am huge on systems. And to scale the business, I want to be the manager of the project, not the worker of the project. So I spend a lot of time getting contractors lined up. I do everything by the book. If the city needs inspections, they need permits, I make sure all of that is above board. And you'll find working with Webster and a few other cities in the St. Louis area, that can be interesting. It can be a challenge. Yeah. So. And so a lot of my time has been consumed with spending time at the city hall, talking to their building department, finding out what they want and need, and then also talking to contractors and trying to figure out how to put the project together and bring that all together. Now, so far we're slipping badly on the time element, but the budget is holding steady. And so in terms of numbers, we picked the building up for about $60,000. We're going to spend about $40,000 to $45,000 on it, and with the ARV, we expect to, by the time we have our holding cost, I'm going to clear about $45,000 to $50,000, I believe, when we're all done. And just for comparison, that's about 2/3 of my annual salary doing home inspections. So what it does to my bottom line is huge.
Right. Now, and check this out. Okay, you have never done a rehab on that scale before, correct?
Correct.
And so while you might, when did you buy that? In January?
Yes, 1st of January.
Okay. So while you might have, you're, like you said, you might be slipping a little bit on time. At least you're recognizing that, right? I mean, I'm not. All my projects slipped a little bit on time, even Craig's. All right, and don't let them tell you wrong.
They do.
But the budget is really what you got to watch on, because if you go over budget and you're going over on time, holy smokes, you're gonna have some sleepless nights. But all right, so you're doing a pretty good job with that. And one of the reasons why you're doing that is because you really want to. I mean, you're taking your time. You're not rushing through it. You're not making rash decisions. You're really taking your time, being focused on it.
I'm using this building really as the prototype for
foundation
all properties, the foundation for what comes after. You can go down to City Hall and hassle with the building people all you want, but once you've done it once, you know how it's done, then you just rinse and repeat. We're going to just keep doing it. And the same thing with contractors. And I started the rehab with just one basic rule, is that I don't do work. And the idea is that if I want to get to where I'm running 3 rehabs at a time, you can't do the work. Right. So I'm trying to focus on running the business and not running the rehab. So and
that's why you're a little bit off your time, because you're really trying to slow down and you're building your team as well and working through contractors. my best subcontractor, you might have a personality conflict with him for whatever reason. It just happens. Just like your best plumber, I might have a personality conflict. So you're kind of working through those things, making sure that you've got a really good team so that you can, when you start to jog and do more than one at a time, you're not having growing pains and experiencing any hassles.
Yeah.
So, and that's smart.
I'll just, stepping forward, another reason we're having a little time struggle is I do have other things going on. I'm managing the apartments that we have and doing the home inspections. We start hitting springtime and that business picks back up. But the other thing that happened
is the Blues are in the playoffs, and so that's why
it's blame the Blues, right? Yeah, I'm all for that. I would take that every year.
Yeah.
So one of the apartments I have, you get to know the owners around you when you do that. And so one of the next door owners came to me last fall and he said, "Hey, look, we're kind of tired of this. We're ready to sell. Do you think you'd be interested?" And I said, "Hey, no, not really. I don't have any money." So it was good. So he comes back to me in February and he says, "Hey, look, we really want to sell. We're heading into fishing season down in Florida. It's time for us to retire." And he said, "I know you said you don't have any money, but how about if we sell or finance for you?" I said, "Let's do the deal." And we went back and forth for a while, negotiated the price and terms. And what he said was, he said, "I've never done seller financing. I don't really know how it works. I don't know if we need to get a lawyer or who we talk to." And I said, "Look, friend, this is not a problem." I said, "I got all the people we need. I know how to do this. It won't be an issue. Just let me handle it. I'll get all the paperwork set up for us. It'll be as smooth as silk." He's like, "Okay." So I get on the phone and I call Rebecca over at Insight Title and I said, "Rebecca, I get this apartment building I want to buy. It's seller financing. I have no clue how to do this." I said, "What do I need to do?" And so Rebecca sends me all the paperwork and kind of does an outline. And she says, "You need these 3 things and fill them out like this and get this thing signed and bring it all to the title company." And I did that. Got it all taken care of. Put it all together. I worked really close with Rebecca and Diane and people down at Insight Title. Fabulous. On the day of closing, I walk in at my closing at 9 a.m. I walk out with all the papers signed, keys in my hand at 9:18. And 18 minutes, that includes coffee. And I talked to the seller and I said, "How did you like that closing?" And he says, "Man, I've never seen anything go so fast." So it was totally awesome.
The power of seller financing. When there's no banks involved, man, it can make it really easy.
Oh my goodness.
It's a killer deal.
I tell you people, if you ever do it once, you will never go back to a bank again. It's like, this was amazing. There's a learning curve. You have to figure out the papers and what needs to be done, and you have to take the initiative, because in a normal deal, you have agents, you have bankers, and they're all willing to take the lead and get it moving forward. And with investors, it's a little bit different. If you're doing seller financing, you're the one who has to make sure everything gets done. And if you're good with that, there's some great deals to be done that way. So I took this building. We closed on it March 15th. 2 of the 4 apartments were vacant. I had to go in, do a little bit of cleanup on them, nothing serious, and put them out there, advertise them. I have them both leased, and tenants moved in now, so fully occupied.
So again, that's maybe one of the reasons why slowed down a little bit on your renovation. I mean, you've done some incredible stuff. It's not like you're, kicking your feet up on the desk and smoking cigars and just twiddling your thumbs. Like you're working, but you've got a really solid plan and you're building a business and a foundation of it. And that's awesome, man. I mean, you should be really proud of yourself in the short amount of time what you've been able to accomplish, picking up another another building with no money out of your pocket, basically, that's adding cash flow into your bottom line, and with really good terms. And you picked up a renovation that could potentially has the potential of that big of a payday. I mean, that's amazing stuff to have accomplished for basically 1 quarter, you know. And the best deals, you know, I was just talking with someone else about this. The best deals are the non-MLS off-market deals. The closer we get to the homeowner with no middlemen, the better the deal becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
both of those deals were that. You know,
Yep.
what I like about you is when I brought you that building in Webster, walked up to it, walked through it, and immediately said, Nick, I'd like to buy this property. There wasn't any hesitation. There wasn't anything because you were a newer inner circle member at that point, but all of the points that you have gone through to get yourself into a position to take action on something and to be able to recognize a good deal, see a good deal, capitalize on that, came into fruition right then and there. You said, I would like to buy this property. This is a good deal. And that's, you know, I knew before then, but if anything, that's cemented like, hey, this guy's gonna make it because you don't have to hem and haw about it, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to, well, what if this happens and blah 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 blah. Hey, this is a good deal. I would like to buy this house. I think I can make money off of it, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah, you got to do the background, the legwork, all the hard work's got to be done in advance, and you got to be ready. I had somebody else describe it as keep your powder dry. You know, you just have everything in place, and when you see the deal, you're ready to move. So you recognize it and you jump on it.
Always be in a position to buy. There could be 6 deals that cross my desk tomorrow, and you know, if there's a deal, I'm going to capitalize on it. I want to get it. So, so when you were out there, and I know that we are limited on time here, but what was something about SSIC's inner circle that like stood out from other things that you were like looking at? Or what maybe kind of like sold you on, hey, I want to link arms with these guys. What was kind of going through your mind in your decision process there?
Well, when I started meeting the people involved, I realized this is a group that has really deep experience in real estate investing. It's not just one guy or a couple of guys who said, "Hey, we're gonna put together something." You know, it's a very experienced, very business-oriented team. So really, it's about the people. I keep saying that real estate is a networking business, which it is. It's so much about getting to know people, finding out what they can do for you and what you can do for them, and making referrals. You know, just getting plugged in to the industry. You know, nobody does that for you. So I truly, really did recognize that there was some talent in the room when I was doing that. And the other thing I liked is just the depth of resources in terms of the things that are available, more than just, you know, forms and paper and such as that, but the expertise that you can draw on. I think you've probably mentioned Craig's rehab binder. The project binder is just huge. It's an amazing tool. It's can organize your rehab fantastically. And one of the things, like, it just gets you moving so much quicker. For instance, right after we bought the Webster house, you and I sat down for an hour and a half, and you said, "Hey, look, I just did a house just like this, you know, very similar type thing. Here are my notes. Here's the things." And you said, you know, these are the cabinets I would recommend, and these are the appliances, and do this floor. And you look at the affiliate list, and, you know, Brad Evans, you know, just call him, do the floor, call Joe for the windows, blah, blah, blah. And boom, boom, boom. I'm just on the phone. I'm just calling people, you know. And with the resources of connections, contractors, and the materials for organizing the project, I didn't have to go to Home Depot and look at faucets and pick out cabinets and choose paint colors, because I'm terrible at paint colors. It's like, look, this is what is selling right now. This is what's good in the market. Use this. All right. Somebody's already done this work. I'm not reinventing the wheel. All right. That's the short story.
No, actually, I forgot that that because we ended up talking that night for about an hour and a half about that because I'd done a house very similar to that. It was a brick house. It was mine was maybe a little bit bigger, but you do the same thing to the house. You just copy and
Yeah.
paste pretty much the same thing. And I went through that, and I remember you saying this was one of the most helpful things that anyone's ever done for me because now I can just go to Home Depot and pick up these things because this is what's going to work. And you can, I showed you the before pictures and the after pictures, and then I shared with you all of the products that we bought. Um,
Mhm.
and you looked at it and you could see what we did and where they went, and it was just like, oh, I'm going
Yeah.
to do that.
There are so many decision points in a rehab like this. Literally thousands. And so anytime you can automate or pre-select, whatever you want to call it,
Simplify.
simplify.
Yeah.
Where I already know my cabinet supplier, I already know the cabinets that I'm using, I already know my paints. I don't have to keep making that decision over and over and over. Then that's when things start to flow smoothly.
hmm That's awesome, man. I'm glad that you mentioned that one of your favorite things is the people. Because we talk a lot about like, if someone's interested in Inner Circle, oh, you got these, we got all the great tools, we got all the resources, we have all that stuff kind of pre-built for you.
Hmm.
Um, and not to diminish that stuff because that's very, very important stuff, right?
Yeah.
But um, and not the local aspect of it is really what makes that connection key. And the biggest part about the local aspect is the other people. And I'm really glad that you understand or that you recognize that that's a big thing to plug into because I get a lot of benefit out of that too. I've been doing this for a long time, right?
Yep.
If someone asks me how long I've been doing it, sometimes I'll say just too long, right? But I've been doing it for a long time, and even still, I'll run across something and I'll scratch my head and say, I've never seen that before. Holy smokes, what do I do here?
Yep.
And to be able to plug into our group here of people that are willing to help
Hmm.
is good for me. And just I like surrounding myself with motivated people that want to get something done and don't want to be the whiners and complainers. So it's
Hmm.
powerful to plug into all that stuff for sure.
Yep.
You
Keep it
know,
positive.
keep
Yeah,
it positive.
I mean,
So
the
what
tools are great, but the network is priceless.
Absolutely. Hey, Paul. Hey, listen. Thanks for being on the call here today, and just kind of walking through like what makes you tick and what your thought processes are and were. And you're gonna do some big things in this business, man. And I like having you a part of the group. You definitely add a lot to it, and I'm happy that you have teamed up with us and joined us and have been able to benefit greatly from all the hard work that we've done over the years to build up such a great network of folks to plug into. So it's self-perpetuating at this point, and I'm excited where we're going and the new members that we're going to get, and I'm excited for what you're going and what you're going to be able to accomplish.
It's my pleasure, Nick. Happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I look forward to seeing that Webster House on a case study sometime soon with it being all done. Maybe we'll have you come up and talk about that at a case study night and have you have some PowerPoint presentation together and
Absolutely.
talk about your numbers. And congratulations on your four family and congratulations on the rest of the success you're going to have this year. Guys, we're going to cut it short here. Thanks for listening in to another edition of the REI Rockstar podcast. Brought to you by the Sewell Law Firm, Longhorn Financial, Rebecca over at Insight Title, the folks at Graphic Connections, and of course the Southside Investment Club. Come on out to a meeting, guys, the second Thursday of each month. And we got bus tours, 3-day events that are high powered in your face. This is how you do this business. And of course, we have our high level mastery inner circle coaching program for people like Paul who want to excel their business and jumpstart it and plug into an awesome group of folks to make that happen. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content here, and shoot us a note if you want to see some pictures. Maybe we can light a fire under Paul's butt to get that come to fruition pretty quick. So, Paul, thanks again.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, Nick, sign it off. We'll see you at the top or from the top. Talk to you soon, guys.
Bye bye.